From the Hingin Islands to the city-states of Eorzea to the distant land of Tyrell via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 64 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, February 9th of 2025. Following podcast may contain mature language and will almost definitely contain spoilers for any possible content in the game, including content that's not even in the game yet, because the live letter is a thing. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and the most important month of this podcast is just a handful of weeks away. I'm so excited. With me, as always, are my two wonderful co-hosts. First off, we have a man who prefers fried eggs over hard and is occasionally role-playing as a kobold named Spork. Hi, Brandon.
How's it going, everybody? Hey, I have a question for you guys. Did you hear about the free clinic that got set up in Ilmeg?
No.
Well, turns out it's actually been pretty successful, so now they just call the place Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
God damn it. Okay, I used to go by Meg until high school and Family Guy came out.
Oh, I bet. That's incredible. So how many times did people use "shut up, Meg" on you?
So much, and also I was like, a girl with brown hair and glasses, so it was like,
I'm so sorry.
And of course, as you can hear, we also have our resident Chaos Gremlin, Catmon VTuber, who can thank Final Fantasy for teaching her Roman numerals, and an artist who can only know true peace if her bonbon is satiated. Hi, Megan.
hello. She has been fed. Both cats have been fed. That doesn't totally guarantee anything, but it does up the chances that I will not be shredded mid-podcast. But yeah, they're both here.
Funny enough, I have to do the same thing for my wife, or the same result happens.
What percent of your bloodstream is Dayquil this episode?
None. But
Wow.
I woke up like 20 minutes ago and I am downing an energy drink, so we'll look out.
Oh, man. Chaos Gremlin, that full blast. Okay.
What energy drink?
It is a Celsius Peach Vibe.
Are those any good? I haven't tried them yet.
I like them a lot, but I'm easy to please when something is sweet.
There is an orange dreamsicle one, but it's only in a 16-ounce can, which is pretty good.
I really love, they have some really good like fruit flavors. Like they have I had like a mango peach green tea the other day, was really good. And they do a Fuji apple pear flavor that's really good. Those are my favorites. I also really like peach vibe, but it tastes like peach rings. If you like peach rings, you'll like the peach vibe.
Okay. Yeah, my preferred energy drink brand for years went out of business and can't really be found anywhere except for like whatever stock is left. So I've been searching for something new besides just this caffeine supplement powder I've been using.
Okay, stupid energy drink story, I have to tell you. So we live in Los Angeles, right? And we used to go to the dollar store all the time because it's the dollar store and things there are really cheap. And we found fucking Steven Seagal branded energy drinks. And we were like, we have to fucking try these. We have to try them. And they were so fucking good. Oh my God. They were. And the saddest thing was the best flavor was called, I shit you not, Asian Experience. And it had like a ginger kind of like ginsengy flavor. It was really tasty. And of course, it was a Steven Seagal energy drink, so it went out of business in like 1 week. And we could never get them again. And who knows what kind of like heavy metals we were poisoned with. But because we got them at the fucking dollar store. Living in Los Angeles is a fucking trip, let me tell you. You find the weirdest shit.
Well, if you haven't suffered any effects of the heavy metal poisoning, I guess that would make you hard to kill.
I mean, I was going to say they're probably not that big because I'm sure none of them were called the perfect weapon.
Oh my God.
Is this podcast now under siege with Steven Seagal jokes?
Oh dear God.
No, but I bet those Steven Seagal energy drinks aren't being sold anymore because they were beyond the law.
I mean, I would not. I've only seen like Under Siege and Under Siege 2. Okay, I didn't have that much tolerance. I prefer.
Well, I will try to cease this podcast being under siege from Steven Seagal jokes and transition to, hey folks, have any of us been playing Final Fantasy 14 in the past few weeks while we desperately wait for news of what's next?
Yes, actually, I took a couple months off, and probably last week, I'd say, I re-downloaded the game, refired up my subscription because I spent a month in World of Warcraft, and that was more than enough to make me go, oh yeah, I miss an MMO with good storytelling. So I'm back.
Wow!
Seriously though, I
heard those shots.
All I did was the Dragonflight leveling experience, and it was so like just disappointing. Like the zones were beautiful. I loved seeing all the new dragon lore, but just the overall personal experience of the story was so awful and just so awful is probably a strong word, but it was just so, what we had in World of Warcraft for years. And I'm like, why did I try to do this again? Oh, right. Because all my stories that I had were in my head. So
I will say one thing that World of Warcraft has going for it is, the world. Oh no, hold on.
Uh-oh.
My cat's fighting.
Oh no, it didn't work.
Was not satiated well enough.
It can bloodlust for 10 minutes.
See, she's not taking it out on me. She's going after her sister.
Oh no.
I don't know. I thought I heard something. Maybe I didn't. That's the problem with the noise canceling headphones.
Yep.
But yeah, the main character of World of Warcraft is definitely the world, and I will say my fondest memories of playing it were creating characters within that world. And back when that world, made sense and had cool lore and a progressing story, I was very happy to play in it. But once they started retconning everything and doing really stupid shit, I was like, not so. This has lost some of its luster.
So I will use this opportunity to segue to a current topic and ask, are either of you intrigued by the shots fired at Final Fantasy 14 housing with WoW talking about its plans for player housing, saying they're not going to do lotteries, everyone's going to be able to get a house?
Well, that is very nice, and honestly, I wish Final Fantasy would do that too. The thing is, everybody in Final Fantasy can get housing; it's just apartments and not like a full house. But I'm just garrisons are looming so large in my mind, and I'm like, how are you guys really going to implement a whole new game system for housing? Because that's what Final Fantasy does. We basically have a version of like The Sims build mode for our housing. And like, I just don't see, I see WoW letting you choose from a few different templates and then like having slots where you can pick what goes there. And like, I don't see it being anywhere near as good. I would love to be surprised, but from like the previews they've given us and the fact that everyone gets it and the fact that like WoW is just really is spaghetti code and it's ancient and like they hate doing new shit. I'm just like, press X to doubt. And like, I just feel like it's going to be like a house-sized garrison with no gameplay features in it. That's my prediction. That's my cynical take. Like that's what I'm prepared for them to do. So if they surprise me, I will be happy. But I don't think they'll be back.
It sounds to me like you'll believe it when you see it, which is fine. I am going to read one paragraph that might give you a little more hope. Maybe not much, but a little more hope that it's not Garrisons 2.0. And this is taken from their blog thing. They say, our highest priority is to allow players to build a house that shows off their own personal tastes of their warbands, acts as a desired backdrop for role-playing, or just allows players to create something in the flight of fancy. The tool set should be easy enough for someone with no 3D experience to be comfortable with and use successfully, but should also be powerful enough that players can surprise us with their creations or drill down to get the tiniest details just right. The gamut of decor options spans not just the cultures of Azeroth, but the many expansions of World of Warcraft as well. To me, okay, I will say this. I can neither confirm or deny that I have used any sort of programs that affect housing in Final Fantasy XIV. I am aware of programs that can do that, and it sounds like what they want to do here is give the player tool placement options that rival some of these supposed Final Fantasy XIV mods.
I mean, it sounds that way, and it sounds okay. As somebody who loves to play video games wherein you move things around in a 3D space to build pretty shit, aka like all of the Planet games, Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, The Sims to some degree, that sort of thing. That sounds very like that's what they're describing. And I will confirm that I have played around in those mods. I won't say if I've never like installed the part that puts it into your game on my computer. But yeah, I do think that you can build something great in Final Fantasy without any mods. It's tricky.
Yeah.
It is difficult.
You have to glitch things and stuff to make it work, yeah.
But like if we could just get some XYZ arrows going on, that's all I ask. That's all I want. And it sounds like that sounds like that's what they're describing. So maybe I am a little more hopeful now. We'll see.
It really is kind of a we'll believe it when we see it. I think I have the same kind of concerns as you. They want the other thing that kind of interests me, and you can kind of sort of do this in Final Fantasy XIV, but not easily, is I guess their housing wards are going to be 50 house neighborhoods, and you can there are public neighborhoods and there are guild neighborhoods. So a guild can just basically have a housing district, neighborhood ward, whatever, set aside for itself. I think that idea is pretty cool for like larger guilds and stuff. That's something I kind of wish Final Fantasy XIV had, but I don't know how feasible that is. And of course, when you are giving everybody a house that's different, and in a way, I guess really, I say that, and then I kind of forget. Well, Final Fantasy XIV kind of does that, just like you said with apartments and stuff. Guild houses do have apartments for everyone in the guild, so it's just how it's presented that's different.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's a very Japanese mindset. This like false scarcity, and they do it for everything. Like in Japan, there's like lotteries and gotchas for like just the most random shit, and like it's very important. It's a very important, or it's like a very Japanese mindset of like it's exclusive, and like they will bump things up to be way more exclusive than they actually are. And I feel like that is definitely something that holds over in Final Fantasy XIV, and it's just like it's a culture thing. And but also it's like, dude, this really does not need to be scarce. It is pixels. You can make as many as you want, but at the same time, it's like also it's a lot of data and everything. So I find the compromise of like everybody gets an apartment, and then those that you really go for it with the gusto, because honestly I've never not been able to get a house if I have the gil and like I'm willing to just go for it and like hunt around, and within like a couple weeks at most. Like
oh yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I think that like I like that it's kind of something that you got to put some effort into, and that like it's kind of special, and people treat it that way. And like I don't know, I don't mind it. I could see how some people get like start Final Fantasy, they hear about the housing, and then they're like, what? I don't get one automatically. I have to like do a lottery for it. I'm like, believe me, the lottery is better, bro. You didn't want to be here in the dark times, the times before the lottery.
Oh, the lottery is better than the system they had before, no doubt about that. Before I try to get the train back on track to Brandon's Final Fantasy XIV adventures, really quick here, just speaking of Final Fantasy XIV housing, I know they've talked about giving the ability so that if you own a small house, you can actually have a large house space on the inside, kind of Doctor Whoing it up, right?
Yeah.
That's coming this expansion.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's supposed to be late, but it's coming this expansion. My question for you, for really both of you, is given what you said about how you feel about the exclusivity and stuff like that, my question is, if they can do that with small houses, why can't they extend that privilege to apartments? And wouldn't doing that to apartments just solve the housing crisis like that?
Yeah. And I bet that they will eventually. Like, honestly, if everybody is like super fucking jazzed about their large interiors. The thing is, like, nobody really does much with the exteriors of housing because number one, the items are super limited. And number two, it's really weird and awkward to be just like standing RPing outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, while I really enjoy like decorating the outside of the house and having a cute outside, you can't do that much with it. And I understand because that's the one part that like they have to load with the rest of the district. So they can't let you, vomit items all over it. But yeah, I think that they should do that and that they probably will eventually. But like it's the exclusivity mindset. They gotta get over that. And like also remember that like that's what the Japanese players expect. And like that's their main audience. So we could be like, why don't you just do this? So they're like, but it's gotta be like exclusive.
Brandon, you have any thoughts you want to tack on to that before we move on?
I will be very curious as to how WoW's implementation of housing deals with furnishings. Because one of the reasons I never got into housing in either FF14 or even the Old Republic version is just the insane upfront cost. You not only have to pay for the actual, location of where you're living, you've got to either, hunt down and craft the specific items you might want, if you even know they exist. Or you've got to, pay even more, Gil, out the wazoo.
Let me help you out here, buddy. So an apartment is, what is it, like 100,000, 300,000?
Yeah,
not that
I
much.
have one.
And there is the furniture vendor in the housing district is selling things for like 2 to 10K Gil.
Yeah.
And you can furnish an entire apartment with that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But if you're trying to build something like very specifically flavored, like I would want, you either have to hunt down and figure out what items are all there from, various sites online, or if they even have like a preview thing in the game itself, you've got that. But then you've got to pay even more out the wazoo for those.
I think that's going to not only persist in Final Fantasy XIV, I think that's going to be a part of WoW too, because you have to have some pricey stuff or hard to get stuff, because it's a supply demand thing, right? It also helps to engage players in it.
Yeah, it's like a show off. It's like a, what do you call that? Envy fucking, like you show up to your raid.
It's a vanity thing.
Yeah, it's a vanity thing. There we go.
I'm sorry. I get what you guys are saying. It's just not a philosophy I can get behind, and I don't really care to engage with it, which is why I don't touch housing in FF14 beyond my simple room in my free company house. Also, I have like no eye for decorating whatsoever, like even in real life. My office looks like trash.
So if you watch it, there's 2 versions of the housing mod. One is one that you build in, and the other is one that you put in your game that then takes your plans and your inventory and then puts it all together. But if you just use the building one, you can then export a list of all of the items that you put in, and you can put that, and it can tell you what you need to craft all those items and like what profession crafts each of those items. And so you can just slowly work through all of it and then put it in yourself in game. So
that is a thing I did not know existed. So
I actually was not aware that program did all of that outside of the game client too.
Yeah, I've done all of that, and I've never installed a mod that actually affects my game. So
crazy.
Yeah, it's really fun. You can look through the whole catalog. You can see everything in 3D. And you can, place things. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a setting that's like, please limit this to only what is actually possible in the game. But you can do your best, and once you actually get in the game, you can kind of fudge it and see what's possible. But it's great for actually looking at all the items and seeing like what the themes are, and also like getting a list and like what all the ingredients are, and then you could start seeing like what's really hard to get, what's really hard to craft, whatever. And like that's that. While I'm like, I agree with you that with what's in game, is kind of not that easy to use and all of that. You have to remember that this is a game, but not just like a role playing simulator. I'm like,
that is fair.
And
either way, it's just because of that and the fact that it doesn't really offer any other tangible rewards outside of just oh, this looks amazing and it really makes me happy to be in here. Is the second reason I never got invested into the whole housing system in FF14. So it'll be interesting to see if WoW does something to get around that, or if they go in a different design direction. But just on the whole,
I think that in WoW, if they want it to actually be like optional and for funsies, they really cannot give it anything useful to actual gameplay, because WoW players are fucking rabid. And if they have a shrine...
Gameplay advantages are what killed garrisons.
Yes. If they have a shrine in their house that gives them a 1% buff once a week, like, everybody's going to do it, and like it's going to become expected, and people are going to like come up with basically a slur for people who don't have their housing.
Right.
So,
well, not only that, but it also kind of kills some of the socializing experience when everyone's like staying in their house for the benefits and stuff. Yeah. Now, I could see them putting in some gameplay stuff in the neighborhoods, like outside of the houses. Like, I could see them making some like group or neighborhood or guild mechanics to encourage cooperation for some benefits and stuff, but not everything that can be found in, say, a city,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they are kind of lucky in the fact that they have like Final Fantasy to look at and see what they want to do like them and what they want to do differently. And like I am curious, but I don't think that I will be brought back to WoW for housing alone, even if it is absolutely amazing. Because
I will be going back to WoW when when the next patch is live, and then it's probably just going to be to do delves until I get my gear upgraded again, and then kind of hop out when I'm bored with it. That's provided I'm not like doing anything in Final Fantasy 14 or other games. So I actually, game-wise, I have plenty on my plate. With Final Fantasy 14 and stuff, I've been playing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth again. This time on PC. Game's freaking amazing, and I have no problem 100%ing it one more time. There are already mods for it. No, there aren't nude mods that we know of yet. But they definitely are trying to make the clothes skimpier.
Okay, are you going?
They're working with what tools they have. They haven't figured out how to take panties off yet, but they can at least make them sexy colored or something. I
want to say, are you going through the official like workshop portal, or are you checking like Nexus mod? Because
I use Nexus mods. I know there are adult mod sites, and I haven't even bothered because it's not really my thing. But if you go to Nexus mods and you have it flagged, you can see what those mods are. So I only know that because I was genuinely curious. Shame me for all you want. I only know that they have not found a way to get nude mods into Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth yet. But I bet they're trying. I'm sure they're trying really hard. No pun intended.
Oh my god. So like I really wanted to make a cat girl in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
So I went to the Nexus mod, and of course, dear God,
there's got to be a cat girl mod for Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah, there were several like cat ear and tail mods to choose from. Yeah. And of course, I wanted some like shiny new faces and stuff, but you can imagine the kind of horny shit that's on the Baldur's Gate mod stuff. But also,
I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 is inherently horny without mods, so
yeah. And like, oh god, the other one that I like to mod is freaking. I haven't played the new one, the Dragon Age. I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and I hate the hairs in that game. They're so bad. So I was looking for like good hair mod, and it was all like realistic nipples. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Oh. I mean, folks, I know we've gone a bit off the rails, but at least we're staying within video games for almost half an hour, so that's progress.
Honestly, if you're listening to this show and don't expect us to go off the rails at some point, how much of this show have you actually listened to?
Fair. That being said, I'm going to finally try to get back on course a little bit. So you did say you resubbed to 14 and started playing again. What are you actively doing right now?
But basically, I'm kind of catching up on all the content I had missed on my main character while I was gone. I finally completed the post, doing all the role quest chain that kind of wraps the story lineup for that, which was, it's definitely the weakest storyline wise of the role quests, but it was still enjoyable in kind of a, slightly goofy way.
It has a Hildebrand vibe to it.
It really does, and that's why it's definitely my least favorite of the bunch. But it was definitely, it was more enjoyable than Hildebrand is, which, is not exactly a high bar to set, but still.
Why do I always forget that you hate fun?
I love fun. I just don't like Hildebrand.
The current Hildebrand, there's nothing wrong with the current Hildebrand stuff or Hildebrand in general. My only problem with the Hildebrand stuff this expansion is that there was like 10 minutes of it. That's it.
There wasn't hardly any of it.
Yeah.
Basically, other than that, I finished leveling a job that I had left at like 96, I think, and slowly progressing through its Manderville relic weapon, because unlike anything else that has the name Manderville on it, those things are amazing. My plan is, once I get, that completed and, check that little box off, I'm going to go onto my alts and finally get them through Dawn Trail, because I feel like it's been long enough that playing through Dawn Trail again won't just feel, super repetitive. And enough time has passed. I'm like, oh, I really want to see that story again. This time, knowing what's coming, catch all the little small details you don't necessarily pay attention to when you're just trying to take everything in.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Megan, what about you? You've been into 14 at all?
I am in the middle of a manga creating frenzy. So there's a manga contest for Kodansha. I don't know if you know who that is. They're one of the biggest manga publishers in Japan, and they're doing a contest wherein you have to draw a manga with no dialogue. That's basically the only rule. And so I have 28th to finish it. I am not yet done with the pencils, and that is all I am doing. I am eating, sleeping, occasionally watching an episode of anime with Ward, and I am drawing. And also, it's the kind of drawing that you can't show anybody because it's for a contest. So it's very lonely.
So is it one of those kind of things where, like, when you submit this, do you also submit like some text separate from the manga, like what the story is about, or is it or is part of the contest like the manga is just supposed to convey the story with your pictures?
Yeah, you submit your information about who you are and all that stuff, and like you give them like a title, and I think there might be like a genre, but other than that, no, just the pictures. And yeah, I'm working very hard on it. I'm making it very detailed. I've always been a huge fan of Clamp, but if you don't know who that is, they did Cardcaptor Sakura, Tsubasa, XX Hawks Chronicles, Magic Knights Rare, Chobits. They are a collective of, I think, 4 women in Japan who actually started out doing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Gei Dojinshi, but then became professionals. So they're known for their incredibly gorgeous character design and detailed art style. And so I've been like, it's I will say it is a tragic fantasy story, which I know you probably don't expect from me, but like I have deep thoughts. Okay. But yeah, it's like very I'm having a lot of fun with like the character design and the costumes and the everything. I will say I've set it in kind of like a fantasy semi-Victorian setting, which I mean, if you know anything about anything that I've made, that should not surprise you.
You love the Victorian era when it comes to stories.
I do. Oh my God. Especially the aesthetics. Like my favorite movie ever is like Howl's Moving Castle, which I would say is like early. It's like turn of the century, slightly steampunk fantasy. That is like, oh yes, pour it on me, baby.
That's gonna be clipped out of context. Thank you very much.
But yeah,
I mean, I need to have a different sounder than just. So there you go.
Barely a Stydian shows up anymore.
I know.
Oh my God. But yeah, so if I win something, that'll be great. I'll announce it. If not, I'll end up posting it like on my Tumblr, or maybe I'll make a webtoon page for it. And then after that, there's a freaking webtoon contest. So I'm like booked up for like a solid month. But I do know that I'm planning to try and grind out the PvP thing before the next season. And I definitely also need to get on there and do the Valentine's thing.
The new season is approaching, and according to the live letter, the next patch is going to be in late March. So
I've been getting into games that you could just like log on, play a few rounds or something, and then log off. And so that's usually what I end up doing with the PvP. Oh, speaking of other games, if you want a game that will, I would say, like exercise the parts of your brain that you need for raiding, but you could play solo and that you can have like a chill time with. It's very cute and the music is great and everything. There's a game on Steam called Rabbit and Steel. It is basically just a little mini raid simulator where you play like different D&D / Final Fantasy classes, and they're all these cute little chibi rabbit girls. And like you have to avoid stuff that's like coming at you, and you got to do a little tiny like a 4-button rotation, and it's like a fun little like raiding brain teaser. And I've been playing it with our old raid team to keep our skills up, I guess.
I am pulling this up now. Oh my gosh,
is that cute?
It is seeing the video. It is what you said it is.
And yeah, it's
a raid simulator.
One run through they do it like a boss gauntlet basically, and like one full boss gauntlet takes about half an hour.
And there's loot, and it's like I guess it's technically considered a roguelite because like each run you do, you pick up different items that give you like little boosts in between certain boss fights, like your loot. And then at the end of it, you start over, and you don't really get to keep any of those, but they do build up over the run. So by the time you hit the end boss, you have all these bonuses and buffs and stuff. Yeah. Reviews are overwhelmingly positive, and this has been out since May of last year. $15.
What is this called again?
Rabbit and Steel.
Okay. It's so freaking cute, and the music in it is adorable, and it's been stuck in my head for a while now. And yeah, I would recommend playing Druid, but right now my favorite is Sniper, which is basically Archer, because they have a Dancer class and they have an Archer class, and the Dancer class actually buffs other players, but the Sniper doesn't. But yeah, oh my God, they're so freaking cute. Oh my God.
I have a friend that I may be getting this game for that I think will absolutely adore this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. You can find like random players to play with, or you can solo, or you can invite friends. So me and Ward have been doing runs together. Because the more that you run it, the more you can unlock new classes, and you can, after every run, you unlock like new items that can be in the treasure chests. So it's like there is progression, but it's not like super hardcore. It's just like a fun little thing.
Oh my gosh, the bullet hell.
Yeah, the thing is, you shouldn't be needing to avoid the bullets if you do the mechanics correctly most of the time. But it does get fucking crazy, especially in hard mode. Like that's the thing. It has a really wide range of difficulties. So that's why I'm like, if you want to like train yourself to have like Twitch reaction time for a rating, there you go. and you're afraid of being in a group with like 8 to 16 people or whatever, there you go.
Man, I'm legit surprised I have not heard or known of this game sooner. It is really intriguing.
Yeah. I only heard about it because my raid team no longer raids. We are always looking for little indie games that we can play together. And so this is one of them. Even though it's only 4 players, so we go into 2 teams of 4.
The sequel would be 8 players. Watch.
But you would be surprised how freaking difficult it is to find a game that lets you have more than 4 players at once. Like, when we find one, we're all like, oh my god, quick.
I think it's like kart racing games, and that's about it,
There's a couple of them today. We're meeting up today, and we're going to be playing a game called, what is it, like Divers or something? And it's where have you heard of Lethal Company?
Oh yes.
So it's like Lethal Company, but you're underwater and you're in like a sewer system of pipes and you're swimming, and like there are monsters and stuff that can pop up and get you. I hope that it has the oh god, what is it called when the voice chat is like the closer you are, the louder you get, and
proximity chat.
Yeah, that is the funniest fucking part of Lethal Company, because there's nothing better than hearing your friend screaming as they run past you, or like screaming and then they fall down a hole. So you hear, "Ow!"
It sounds to me like part Lethal Company, part Soma, part Subnautica.
Yeah, so but that one actually had like 8 players, so we were like, oh my god. Oh, the other game I really wish I was playing is fucking Hello Kitty Island Adventure, but I can't. I have too many games.
You'll get sucked in.
I'll get sucked in, and I'm too busy right now, and also it's still at full price.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be at full price for a while.
Oh, it's called Murky Divers.
Yep.
Solo up to 8 players. Get rid of your employer's failed experiments in an abandoned underwater lab. So yeah, looking at the video, it looks just like Lethal Company. Like you arrive in your little submarine, like a spaceship, and you swim over to but iteration. That's what gaming is all about. And, I really like Lethal Company. It is just the silliest fucking thing. Have you played it?
I have. But I wasn't big on it. I will say, as I just seamlessly segue, what I am big on is Final Fantasy 14. And the live letter, yes, my segues are absolutely miserable. The live letter did come out just a couple days ago, prior to recording this. And we found out more about 7.2. I watched it and saw the unofficial translations in Discord as it was going on. I know you guys have looked at recaps and such like that. I want to open up by saying there was nothing in this live letter that I disliked. At the same time, there's nothing about this patch that has me revved up and hyped. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think I attribute it to I'm going to be excited when I play it, because a lot of stuff that was talked about is stuff that these are relatively known quantities that we know it's coming, and the live letter was very high level. They weren't going too deep into details about stuff. And honestly, I mean, when it comes to this stuff, you're kind of glad that they don't go into details, because then you get to experience the details when you actually play it. It's kind of it's hard to have your cake and eat it too when it comes to Final Fantasy 14 content and knowing what's coming next, because on one hand, sure, you want to know what's coming up, but on the other hand, you don't want to know too much, because Final Fantasy 14 is kind of cool in that, you can't beta test it, so the content and stuff like that really isn't known until you actually have your hands on and playing it. So I'm nowhere near as hyped and excited as I thought I was going to be after watching the live letter, but the one thing that did intrigue me is with this occult crescent content coming up, the phantom job system where you get to pick like a couple buildies from a different job, or including a number of jobs that aren't like main playable jobs in Final Fantasy 14. I see myself having fun with that. Being
Is
able. Go
is
ahead.
that where the Beastmaster job is coming in, or can it be something
No.
else?
So Beastmaster, a lot of people are like, where's Beastmaster? They did say when they were first talking about Beastmaster that it
Yeah.
would be a very late game thing. So Beastmaster, I don't think we will see until 7.4 or 7.5. It's like going to be in one of those latter patches as like content to give us something to do between then and the next expansion. Blue Mage has been treated like that pretty much too.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. That's I figured it would be like Blue Mage and like have its own little thing. But when they're like limited jobs on the island, I'm like, oh, is that going to be what Beastmaster is? So
no. So the Phantom jobs. Better wait. Have you done Eureka or Basha?
yeah.
Okay, so the way I envision Phantom jobs is, I could even give another example, the variant dungeons. It seems to me like by choosing, I don't know how you'll unlock the jobs. They haven't gone in detail about that. But once you choose a job, I feel like you're going to get like extra action buttons, kind of like how you do in variant dungeons or how you could in Baja or Eureka, that are abilities from that class or in the spirit of that class.
Yeah, that makes sense. They
some of the
and I'm
jobs
sure
they listed for Phantom jobs are Geomancer, Ranger, Time Mage, Berserker, Chemist, and Cannoneer.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's a lot of like it's probably going to be like buffs or debuff things you throw at people or heals, which is very much what
Well, and there's the standard jobs too. They've got like monk and like samurai and stuff in it. So I will say that my like when I think of the kind of headcanon for my character for Alexander, he's a summoner, but I also have the red mage job for him. So I just feel like it'd be kind of cool if I can choose summoner, but also have access to some red mage stuff, or vice versa.
I'm just like, Square, please. I have too many buttons. Please do not give me the roll of the action bar. 2 to 3 buttons max, please.
I like, but here's my philosophy on buttons. Having things streamlined is fine, but if the button does something flashy and impressive and it makes my brain go, yeah, I want to do that, then I'm all for it.
I just don't want more than 2 full action bars, okay? Like, I only have so many thingies. I only have so many buttons. I can only reach... Also, I have very little hands. I know that this is a very strange complaint, and not a lot of people have it, but I have very small hands. And this, you can ask Gordon, this is true. I have a hard time going from, like, the number keys and then reaching my pinky down to, like, I can barely reach the shift comfortably. Like, hitting the left control, almost, like, very, very difficult for me. I'm always changing key bindings in games because I have very small hands. So please, for the love of God, not a whole other action bar. For God's sake, spare me. Please. My tiny hands.
But yeah, for me, as far as the live layer goes, Phantom jobs are the key exciting thing. I know they talked about a hell of a lot more than that. Megan, anything kind of like reach out to you and got you going? I can't wait for that.
I'm very excited to explore new planets with the Loporets. My babies, my children, my darling baby buns. I'm like, I need an excuse to do crafting stuff. Otherwise, I won't do it if I'm not like. I literally leveled up a crafting and a crafting job just to give stuff to Emily. Wait, is that right? Amelia.
Amelia.
Because fucking Alize and Alpha no MILF. Of course, I got to do it.
Did you put her in something skimpy?
Maybe.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, that's the only thing you can put her in, right?
Right, yeah. That's what they made the
Pongo Satire represent? Anyone?
I think I put her in some of the swimsuits from Moonfire Fair.
I put her in the hempen set because it's different for each race, and it's very cute on Ellison.
Yes, it is.
Although I think I may have swapped out the bottoms for the 2B leggings because that girl needed a little more cake. That was not promotional, okay? That was for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, dear Fortune, if you're somehow listening to this cross universes, you're welcome.
Dear Fortune, though, you can have your cake, and so can I.
I do wish we got more interactions with the twins, being like, "What the fuck are you doing with my mom?" Nothing.
Exactly.
You can call me mommy too if you want.
I am looking respectfully at your mother's legs. Trust me.
I just want to go up to Alphino and be like, "You can call me mommy too."
Wow.
Not in that way. I'm literally marrying. I'm joining your parents' marriage. All right. Portional gets the cuck chair.
Wow.
Oh my. All right. So cosmic exploration for you. Yeah, you see, I didn't do the content. It's kind of supposed to be in the same vein of as firmament, diadem, I guess, stuff like that. And I never did that kind of stuff when it was current content because I wasn't in the game when it was current content. So
yeah, I didn't do it when it was current. I was in the game. I just was. I didn't even really get what it was. During friggin' oh my god, Heaven's Ward, that was our first expansion. So we got up to the top and we very tentatively did a few raids. We did a couple Alexander raids and I was not diving deep into the systems, but I've done it since then and I really enjoyed it. And so the fact that the cosmic thing sounds like it's going to be a lot like that, we're all working together to build this thing. I'm like, ooh, just do it.
I'm definitely going to give it a shot. It's one of those things where I'm like, I think it's just going to be one of those things where I really don't have a feeling on it until I play it and see okay, does this feel engaging and rewarding enough for me to want to continue to play it? Especially, here's something actually I thought about to Brandon before we go to you quick is I am wondering if all of this content is going to come out when 7.2 launches, and I can almost answer myself right now and guarantee that it's not. And I don't think that Cosmic Exploration and the Island are going to be out at the same time. My hope is that when 7.2 comes out, we have all the new MSQ stuff, and we have the island, the Cult Crescent Island, whatever the hell it's called. And then Cosmic Exploration is 0.5 content. I mean, it would suck for you, Megan. I get it. But I feel like if they release Cosmic Exploration and the battle stuff at the same time, I know they're two completely different kinds of play styles, but I just can't see them doing both of those things at the same time, considering how big each of those are.
I would actually rather have the other one first because I do want to get out there and do the battle stuff and progress and all of that. And that does make sense for them to do it first because I think they're tying the relic weapons to it again.
Right. Yeah.
And they got to get started on that. But the diadem and the firmament really scratched the MMO itch for me of put on a podcast and then just do something mindless and do a loop in the diadem and then come out and craft everything and then go back. And so if a Cosmic Exploration is exactly like that and they have just a Lapred storyline, I will be fucking chuffed. I will be super happy. So if it's anything more than that, then 2 thumbs up. We can only go up from here, boys.
So just for clarity's sake, Ishgard Restoration came out with patch 5.1. Bosrian Southern Front came out in patch 5.35.
Oh dear.
So if history is anything to go by, obviously they're both coming in the 0.2 patch. for Dawn Trail.
Right.
But if history is any indication, it seems like we'll get exploration first, and then what the heck was the name of it? Occult Crescent in a subsequent, smaller patch. But obviously,
I'd be okay with that. It's not ideal, but I'd be okay with that.
Mhm.
I did the crap out of Ishgard Restoration. Obviously, I didn't get any top placing in it, but I used that to level the crap out of all my crafters and gatherers. So I'm absolutely excited if it's going to be a similar system with cosmic exploration. Plus, we're going to be checking out new planets to explore. And I mean,
Yeah.
if this ties into the whole, what is her name? Meteon, reseeds the galaxy with life potential again, then yeah, I'm all for that. Let's bring some hope back to the freaking galaxy.
Yeah. Plus, we get to hang out with Black Brits. That's
exactly. Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I see where you have your priorities. So, Brandon, anything outside of that stuff, was there anything interesting you gleaned from the life letter that you're jumping on?
Not really, other than the other usual assortment of the same sorts of things they add every patch. I mean, obviously, this is a 0.2 patch, so we're getting the next stage of the raid series. I'm actually really intrigued, by the raid storyline this time around.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very interested to see where it goes with the cruiserweight division. Also, it's pro wrestling themed. Of course, I love it.
I'm ready for my Cat Girl Pro Wrestling to continue.
I mean, if the third tier is not called heavyweight, they're doing something wrong.
Oh, it's absolutely going to be called that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to see where the MSQ is going, because 7.1 ended with a very big cliffhanger that is wait, what the frick is about to happen next? Plus, I'll always say yes to more Y'shtola and Shale, and it seems like they're setting them up for a big part in the 7.2 story. I'm sorry, they're hot. I'm not going to, apologize for that. Yeah. Aside from that, I mean, my biggest excitement is for cosmic exploration. If it's going to be, if it's going to basically allow us to do the same things that Ishgard Restoration did, then yeah, I'm all for that, and I can't wait for it. Because I really want to level my crafters and gatherers, and trying to do it the normal way is, for some odd reason, really hard for me to do.
I might, between now and then, I just depend on if I have enough time. I'm I should level up all of the crafting and gathering jobs on my main, because I think she's only got one crafting, one gathering. But the diadem is you could do stuff for all of it, and I don't want to be running past resources I could be getting.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Ishgard Restoration will take them up to level 80. I don't know if it goes anything beyond that. Yeah, I've been trying to do custom deliveries. That was another thing I did this week.
Yeah,
was I went to the new custom delivery NPC out in Shalani, and just kept that storyline going.
Oh, it's so funny because I had never done the custom deliveries to Zoe before.
Oh, you hadn't?
No, I had not. And so I had no idea what I was in for. I was girl, please feed the children, please. Oh my God. I'm calling child services not for the children, but for you.
Exactly. It's you are going to rot your teeth out of your little tiny head. Stop it. Yeah, all of the custom delivery NPCs have really, really good storylines for the most part. There are some that are just okay, I don't know why I'm bothering to help you. You seem kind of like a derp. But yeah, I've been really enjoying the new one they added in 7.1, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I left it undone for a month and a half or so. But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I still haven't done any of that.
Wait, you haven't done any custom deliveries at all?
No, not at all. But no, the more recent one. No, I've done all the custom delivery NPCs up to that. Yeah, I mean, when Ameliance was available for a custom NPC, Ameliance got maxed out as fast as I possibly could.
Yeah, I did her as fast as she could, and the lady out in the frickin' underground bunker in Charlian. I don't remember her name. Magrat? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did both of those religiously. As soon as Tuesday, the reset happened, I'm all right, time to go give you stuff. For whatever reason, I guess it's because I was burned out in the game and I needed a break for a while. I never finished the The lady who's dead on the first, unfortunately. I don't remember her name. Because that's essentially what she is. She's the wife of the guy you help out, break out of his drunken funk on the first. But it's
Oh yeah, the guy. He's oh god, now I can't remember his name. We were always working with him. He's in love with Rowena, but they apparently actually got married on the first, and then she died. So, girl, don't marry him, you'll die.
No, not. It's not Geralt. It's the
what?
It's the Hrothgar on the first.
Oh, that guy.
The tram and
because
his wife.
He's talking about the trolley people.
The stupid, sexy lion man. Oh my god. Is he as sexy on the first? I don't think he was, because Jesus Christ.
He's kind of depressing on the first, but on
the first he's super depressed. But he's wearing like the lowest cut. It's like a V-neck that goes past his belly button, and he has like this really obvious like patch of like chest fur. It's just like, what the
how do you remember these things?
That's how my brain look. I have a titty positioning system in my head.
TPS, huh?
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know how I'm going to use that.
These eyes are rated E for everyone, okay? Like, if you got the big booba, I will notice. All right, I'm sorry, and it will probably be what I remember about you.
Oh, I think I just found the title for the episode.
It's always something unhinged, Megan says.
Look, man. I remember it because I was so shocked by it, because I remember him being such a Debbie Downer on the other world. And so when I saw him, I was like, oh, hey, it's that guy. And I was like, oh, God, it's that guy's tits.
I mean, he lives in the Source's equivalent of the Old West, and his wife isn't dead. Of course he's happy and feels like showing off.
I was like, wow, things do change, I guess.
On that note, is time to steer things to a conclusion for now. But folks, do not worry, because we will be back in March with a minimum of 2 episodes of this podcast. Because there's some, we are contractually obligated to do the waifu wars and the husbando hullabaloo, and that's those 2 are in for sure. And then there may be an episode where we actually talk about 7.2. So
maybe,
yeah, it's possible.
Look, all I'm gonna say, Dawn Trail, whatever good or bad you have to say about it, it is full of gorgeous people, just across both spectrums. Waifu, husbando, whatever you like to think of it. There are just so many pretty people in Tyrol.
Yeah.
So is that the twist for this year, or do we want to make it Dawn Trail specific only? Or you and Megan need to work out particulars here, because if I recall correctly, Brandon, you're taking half of it and Megan's taking the other half as far as like how we're doing this.
Honestly, I could do an entire tournament of nothing but Dawn Trail NPCs.
The thing is that I don't think there's enough for each of us to choose different ones. Like, or unless we're getting like into really small characters, which at that point,
that would be my problem. Is that I notice the otherwise inconsequential NPCs when they're particularly attractive. Like, I think I'm one of the few people who is like just completely enamored with Shale, because goddamn, that woman's gorgeous.
Well, we will figure it out. Until that chaos happens, Brandon, where can people find you?
You can catch me on the various socials that aren't run by complete and total nut jobs. I'm the BMAT on most of them. You can check out my D&D related writing, because let's face it, that's all I've written about lately, on yourquestlogisfull.wordpress.com. It would be yourquestlogisfull.com, but frankly, I am too cheap to pay for a domain. And you can also catch me on +5 to Hit. It's the D&D podcast, where we're in the middle of an intermediate adventure because a very big chapter of our campaign came to a close. And oh my God, the catharsis, the memories, the memes, the insanity with how it ended. It was all great. I really hope you're listening to it, because it's been a ton of fun for me.
That final episode goes out on Wednesday. So by the time, pretty much the day that you are listening to this, that final episode, +5 to hit for that chapter, the campaign should be going out to.
My best friend and workout buddy has been an avid listener since I joined the show, and I keep having to talk around what happened without actually giving him spoilers. So I'm very excited for him to finally be able to listen to it.
Nice. Megan, when you have time to do something other than manga and all of that, where can people find you?
I'm Cat Mom Megan, also everywhere. It's all one word, and Megan is spelled Meagan. I have not been streaming on Twitch for a while now, I know, and I'm sorry. I've just been really freaking busy, but mostly I post on Blue Sky, occasionally on Tumblr, but not that much. Whenever I draw something I actually can post, it usually goes up on Tumblr and Instagram too sometimes, but I've been kind of dropping off on that too because we live in a hellscape.
Yeah.
So come follow me on Blue Sky and see pictures of Butterscotch and Bonbon and hear my absolutely random shit that I post at like 5 a.m. because I'm staying up all night working on manga.
Awesome. As for me, you can contact me through the show's Blue Sky, which is at A Podcast Reborn. You can email the show as well at apodcastreborn@gmail.com. And you can also find us at bonusroll.gg, the site for Bonus Roll Productions. The theme music this time is, as always, provided by Husky by the Geek, and you should see a link to his YouTube channel in the show notes. And of course, that music and any other Final Fantasy derivative music you hear on this podcast belongs to Square Enix, and no copyright infringement is intended. That's going to do it for episode 64. The madness begins in just a few weeks, and I cannot wait for it. But until then, for Megan, for Brandon, and of course for Butterscotch and Bonbon, this is Brian Black. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete. Brandon.
To set this up, Ro, can I ask you to play the sound again?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can always just say.
And on that note, how do dragoons cope with the immense cold in Ishgard?
How?
They put on their jumpers.
I like that one.
Yeah. It's good.
I was like, Dragoon. Well,
You could say that when it comes to that joke, you stuck the landing.
Always a good time when I manage to pull that off.
See you folks later. Bye.
Take it easy.